We're going to be talking about tonight CapCut strategic thinking. And mainly, I want to make sure you know everything that you have available. It's a great platform. It's not necessarily laid out all that intuitively. And in some cases, all of the syncing between accounts doesn't necessarily always take place, but the price is right. It's a free application currently. And so you want to think about whether or not you want to use it. And traditionally, if you don't have Camtasia, or you'd have to use something like Screencast-O-Matic, or you use Loom, and those two applications don't necessarily integrate into their own editor. Now, Screencast-O-Matic did, or it does, and it's a fairly robust platform. If you use the Mac, you can use ScreenFlow. And it's pretty much the same as Camtasia. Now, Camtasia does have a Mac version, but the Mac version is not as good as ScreenFlow. So if you're a Mac user and you need screencast software and you want to be able to edit the same thing that you do, the same thing you create, you'd be able to do that inside of ScreenFlow if you're a Mac user. So let's think about CapCut strategically in terms of how you're going to use it. And I want to go through the different elements of CapCut because again, if you just go to the browser, you won't quite catch everything that there is. And there's quite a bit to it. They're adding stuff to it all the time, but at the same time, they're changing it, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you understand exactly what is going on. Let's talk about the different properties of CapCut and how you're going to use it. Obviously, if you have done anything with CapCut, you probably went through the online browser application because that's the free application. And it's all got all of the video tools that you need in order to create videos as well as to edit videos. And so you'll notice that there's a video side and there's an image side. So what they're trying to do with the video side, obviously, is to compete with video creators and video editors. On the image side, what they're trying to do is to compete with other elements such as, Canva. And they're not going to be any competition for Canva, but I think this is mainly for people who use the TikTok platform, right? And so to give people who use TikTok an application that they can use in order to create their videos and to stay on that platform. Now, as you know, CapCut is created by ByteDance. So you'll have to do with that information what you want to do with it. And ByteDance is the same uh, entity that owns TikTok, right? So that's why you'll see a lot of integration between CapCut and TikTok. And just be aware that, as you start to use CapCut, the more that you put it on your computer and the more that you do with it, that is an application that operates with TikTok, right? So again, so you've got the video side and you've got the image side, right? And one of the other things that's kind of interesting about CapCut right at this moment is that you can record your screen. And that makes it very similar to Camtasia. Now, the screen recorder is not perfect, but the screen recorder doesn't have to be perfect. And because you're going to be able to take that same recording and you're going to be able to edit that recording inside of CapCut, well, that makes it very interesting. And so I think that at last count to update, Camtasia was $165. And as far as I know, you can use the free version to CapCut for just about nothing. And what we did in the demonstration of what we're going to be talking about tonight, everything was done with a free account. So if you have never used a screen recorder, or maybe you didn't feel like you wanted to pay for Camtasia, you just don't record enough videos, then you can get started with CapCut. Now, here's what I will say about CapCut and recording videos. The platform is free. And one of the things I'm going to point you to in this session is the Reddit forum. And if you watch the Reddit forum about CapCut, you'll see that they have changed this application repeatedly. They've taken some things away, they've added some things, they've taken some things away, they've added some things. And when you start to rely on a platform in order to do something as vital as recording screencast videos, if that's part of your business model, you have to be careful about relying on a platform that is set up to be free today, because it does what all big platforms do. Eventually, all big platforms start out free or they start out low cost. And when they need more money, they will change the platform. Now, I don't know that ByteDance will do that with CapCut, but that is the pattern of all big applications. That is the pattern of all big software creators. You will eventually be paying more for the same thing that you're getting for free. You want to be aware of that if you're going to use this as your main video creator. But what's important about this is that if you don't use any screen recording software right now, you can use CapCut for free. And this is a browser extension, and you can use it pretty much conveniently. Now, it does install if you're using a Mac. It does install if you're using both Windows, Chrome, and then also Edge. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that CapCut also has a desktop application. So not only can you access CapCut through the online application, but it also has a desktop application. Now, that makes it even more interesting because this operates on your personal computer. Now, you may not want to have another application on your computer, or you may be operating a platform that doesn't allow you to install software on your computer. However, if you'd rather have something that doesn't require you to be internet connected, if there's a downside to using a video editor that is in the browser, is that you have to be internet connected in order to use it. Well, if that's the case, you can use your CapCut desktop application if you need to edit videos with that software. Now, most of the features are going to work if you're signed into your account. So, whenever you're going to be using CapCut desktop application, you're going to need to sign into it. And when you sign into it, that's going to require you to be internet connected. But again, the software will be it will be placed on your personal computer, and you can operate it there. So that's another part of the CapCut system of creating videos and creating images. Another part of the CapCut system is the mobile application. And there's a mobile application that exists in Android. There's one that also exists in the iOS system. So again, so you have the browser, you have the screen recorder, you have now the mobile application. And so you're going to be using all of these together. And one of the things you want to kind of think through is that everything that you do in the mobile application, for the most part, it will flow through to the browser application and then to your desktop. However, everything that you do in the desktop does not flow upward. So you will not necessarily see everything that you do in the desktop in your mobile device. So you want to be aware that as you begin to start thinking about where you're going to have things syncing, where you're going to be creating things. So everything that's mobile first will make it. If you do it in the browser application, it should show up in both mobile and desktop. However, again, if you do it on the desktop and you start on the desktop, that does not mean that what your creation will do is will sync with the mobile application as well as the online application. Again, so you need to be aware of that, as you start to create files. If you're thinking, well, I'm going to create this file in my mobile, and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to do it on my desktop, and I'm going to finish it there. You just want to make sure that it saves there and it's going to be there, and you do things in that order. So as you can see here, these are projects, right? So the same applications that exist in the desktop, they also exist in the mobile device. So if you create a lot of video using your mobile device, you can use CapCut in order to do the editing there. Now, again, the reason that they're making CapCut available is so that you will do more videos and so that you will put those videos on TikTok. They do not limit you to put it on TikTok, but that is why ByteDance is making it available. Now, as you can see, there's a little pro word at the top there. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you need the pro version to do everything. There are some elements currently that are only part of the pro version. And as I understand, if you read the Reddit forums, you'll see that they are increasing the number of features that they're moving over to the pro version as of the recording of this session. So you want to be aware of that. So once again, now if you don't use a video creator, then you start out using CapCut, then that's just something you'll just get used to. If you're going to be coming from, let's say, the use of Camtasia, maybe you don't necessarily want to update and do the maintenance, and you're tired of paying the yearly maintenance fee, so you want to get something that's now going to be low cost or free, then you'll just want to be aware of the fact that some of the features are going to be limited until you move over to the pro version. What you're looking at right now, again, is the desktop version. And so you'll see that this is a video editor, just like any other one that you would use, whether you use Adobe, or maybe you use Adobe Premiere or Camtasia. All the interface is the same. So you will still have access to a timeline. You will be able to edit from timeline to timeline. You're going to be able to stack things from on top of each other on the timeline. So this is a full-fledged video editor. So there's nothing limited about the video editor. And again, this is free. You can upgrade to the pro version, but you don't have to in order to use this element for your video creation and for your video editing. You'll see that there are some menus across the top there. You'll have access to work with your audio. You'll see that there's a text menu. That means you'll be able to overlay with text. You'll see that there's a stickers menu. That means you'll be able to overlay your video with, quote, stickers, digital stickers. There are effects so that you'll be able to do different elements and add them to your video. I know that there is an AI character which doesn't exist in the desktop version, but again, all those things are part of this element. One of the big things that Camtasia makes available is that you can insert a transition. Well, CapCut does the very same thing here. And one of the really huge things that I think is really neat about this particular video editor is that you can caption your videos. So you'll see right there at the top, if you're looking at the very top menu of this video creator, if we click on that element for captions, I mean, there's a process, and I'll show you that here in a minute. What we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to add captions to the video. Now, that's a very popular feature for videos right now. And if you can do that, that's going to make your videos more effective. You can filter your videos, you can make adjustments, and then you can start out with templates. So there's nothing limited about this video creation software. And as you can see, it mirrors Camtasia. So what you're looking at right now is not CapCut, it's Camtasia. So it's almost the same thing in terms of all of the things that it does. I mean, you see there on the left side menu, there are definitely some things that you're going to be able to use in the very same way with CapCut. Now, one thing that you'll want to do if you intend to use CapCut, and either you're going to use the paid version or you're going to start by using the free version, you may want to tune into Reddit. And the most active community of users exist on Reddit. And this is where people are really sharing tips. They are talking about the platform. You can go there and ask questions. And so this is a good place to have a good conversation. Now, they are not sponsored by CapCut, and I don't see a lot of people from CapCut going in to answer questions, but the users are talking about the platform. So if something is now not working inside of CapCut, or they've moved something that used to be free over to the paid version in general, this forum will know about it. So if you're going to use CapCut, it's a good idea to tune into that forum. And maybe you're not a Reddit user or you're not into forums. One thing about the Reddit forum is that it does not tend to devolve into a social media conversation. It is a social media application, no doubt, but the conversations are focused because they're moderated. So this discussion about CapCut is moderated by people who talk about CapCut. So if somebody starts to get off topic in this conversation about CapCut, they're going to be booted. So again, it doesn't work anything like a social media or a Facebook group in that sense, right? There may be a Facebook group for CapCut, but this is where the most vibrant, most informative discussion happens about this application. I do want to talk briefly about marketing fundamentals and using CapCut in terms of being strategic with it. You want to think about this in the very same way as you would in several applications when it comes to using it in order to market your business. Whatever you would be thinking about in terms of Camtasia or Snagit. So if you start thinking about, well, how would I use Camtasia in terms of marketing my business? Well, you'd want to think of CapCut in that way. So whatever you're thinking about when you're looking to use Camtasia or Snagit to market, well, you'd look at CapCut in the very same way. Canva. Now, I'm not saying in any stretch of the imagination that the image application in CapCut comes close to what you can do inside of Canva, not even close. However, there are a lot of basics that you can do. You can create thumbnails. You can create multi-layer images. You can use templates. And so Canva, when you think about the function of Canva in marketing your business, you can think of CapCut in that very same way. And Screencast-O-Matic is not as much of a regular use application as it used to be. And you probably fall along the same lines as you would Camtasia or Snagit when you talk about Screencast-O-Matic. And then there's also Zoom when you start talking about, well, can I shoot videos? So all of the same things you can do with those applications, you're going to do those pretty much with CapCut when you start thinking about how you're going to use it to market your business and whether or not it's going to be worth your time in order to invest in it. As I said, the solutions in CapCut are not going to be as robust as all four of these things. It does a little bit of all of these, doesn't do everything, doesn't even do all of these things as well. However, you are not paying for CapCut in most cases. And even if you do pay for CapCut, it's a modest price. Once again, here's what you want to take into consideration. If you are going to rely on this application, it will change. If you read the Reddit forum, you'll see that it has changed. It will continually change. They remove features, they put features in, they change features, and they don't think about it because, again, the primary function of it is for you to create more TikTok videos. So that is their primary goal. Their primary goal is not necessarily to serve you as a video creator necessarily, right? That's not their primary goal. I think they do a pretty good job with this free application for the most part. Now, one of the things you're going to be using any video and image creator to do is to make sure your assets and multimedia creation is consistent. And so you can produce the very same thing pretty much over and over again. And the desktop application will allow you to do that, as will the cloud-based application when you're talking about creating videos. And they do have, when you start talking about using the pro version, that you can get a brand kit, right? You can use the same colors over and over again. Now, the rest of the functions, upsells and cross-sells, using CapCut in order to create different assets, you're probably going to rely on some of the AI tools, which we will talk about here in the next section. The same thing is going to be with list building, right? You're going to create unique opt-in assets, and you're going to do that with the AI tools. And so that's going to be the theme of the rest of this. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about using some of those AI tools. And the same thing is going to be with educational marketing and direct response. What you're going to be doing with CapCut is making use of the AI tools, right? And that's really where CapCut stands apart from, let's say, Camtasia at this point. Camtasia is not necessarily made for you to generate things. If you're going to be generating things, you can do it, and you'll see that here inside of CapCut. Let's talk about the AI, or what CapCut calls magic tools. And I would encourage you to go to CapCut and to explore these tools. And there are quite a few of them. And all you got to do is you've got to log into your account in the browser. And there's an element on the left side menu. And again, that's when you're seeing this, depending on when you're seeing this. If you look to the left side menu, there's an element that you should click on called Magic Tools. And again, that's whether you're on the image side or the video side. If you click on Magic Tools, you're going to see a number of things available to you. And we're just going to talk about a few of these things here. And not all of them work perfectly. Not all of them are going to do exactly what they say they do. However, you can take either an image or a video and you can transform it with not a lot of work and with not a lot of resources. You can use these tools in order to do it. For example, they there is a way for you to add an AI character that you can get to say the words that you wanted to say, a limited number of characters, right? You can use that. You're going to see there where it says remove the background from a video or from an image. I mean, you could do that inside of CapCut. I'm not going to go through all of these, but again, it's a good idea for you to go to the Magic Tools section and wherever you really have a need to try to do something, to test out the tool. It does not work the same for all situations, right? It does work in some cases well for some. In other cases, it doesn't work well at all. I do want to talk a little bit about the AI editing tools because I think that when you're starting to talk about using the platform in order to edit your videos, this is going to be probably of the most importance to you. When you're going to use the AI editor, and I'm looking right now at the browser-based tool, what you'll see here is there's an element here where I can caption my videos and I can transcribe my videos. And the reason I'm going to transcribe the videos here inside of CapCut is because that is where I can edit my videos. Now, you might say that that's going to be very similar to Descript. I mean, that's Descript's claim to fame, that you can get the transcript and you can edit the video based on the transcript. So in other words, if I delete a word from the transcript, that word would automatically be deleted from the video also. And so that is really where this free software really does shine in terms of what it delivers. So let's just say that what you're going to do is you're going to caption your video. So in other words, as your video plays, you're going to have the words appearing at the bottom of your video as the narrator speaks, whatever the narrator is saying. And that's very easy to do inside of CapCut. You just click the button that says caption, and you can auto caption your video. So in other words, I can click that button. I can get CapCut to guess as to what the words are, and it's pretty accurate. So, if you have a narrator that speaks fairly clearly, CapCut's going to come pretty close to understand what those words are going to be saying, and they can add them to your video. And if you're looking at the screen here, there's an orange layer on top of the timeline. That's really where the caption layer is. So you can manage the entire process on your timeline to edit your videos. So captioning is a very important element, again, free part of your platform that you can use. You can also transcribe. And again, what we're doing here is we are transcribing the video so we can edit the video, right? That's really what it's made for. It's made for you to be able to take your video, transcribe it, and then edit it based on that transcription. I want to talk a little bit about integration with ChatGPT. There is an integration with ChatGPT. And because ChatGPT has now updated its model so that you get access to GPTs as well as file upload, even though in the past those features have only been available for the paid version, they're now available for the free version as of the recording of this session. So you can integrate ChatGPT with CapCut. I'll show you how to do that here. So basically, now that you do have access to GPTs, even if you have the free version, right? So everybody's got access to GPTs inside of their free ChatGPT account. It's not just for people who have the paid account. Anyone can get access now to GPTs. And so you're going to see here, all I did was I went to Explore GPTs and I typed in CapCut. And you're going to see a couple of elements there. There's one that says CapCut Expert. What that basically is, that's someone trying to teach you how to use CapCut. That's not the one you want. The one that you want to look to says CapCut Video GPT. That one is created by CapCut itself. So CapCut did the integration with ChatGPT here in this area. And so what you're going to do is it's going to bring you to this element. You're going to click on the button there that says Start Chat. Now, as a recording of this session, it seems as if the reviews are mixed about it, right? So you're not going to be able to just make it all easy. It's not going to be totally free and easy, but it will allow you to create a script, and it will allow you to take that script and integrate it into CapCut. Once I get the GPT open, you're going to see it. CapCut is going to give you some starter prompts, right? So they say, you can write a prompt that says generate a video. So if you click those buttons down there, what it's going to do, and I would encourage you to just use the prompts that they give you so that you see what it does, right? Before you start writing your own prompt. They're giving you 4 sample prompts. And I think that they do these differently for everyone that comes to ChatGPT when they come there. So just click on the prompts and see what it then does and what it delivers for you when you click those individual prompts. What you'll see here is that, as a sample, I wrote a prompt, and there's no magic in the prompt in trying to do this, connect ChatGPT to CapCut. There's no magic in it. So the prompt itself is not the magic. The magic is in the GPT. The fact that they connected their API to ChatGPT is where the magic is. And in fact, if you know anything about any of these AI tools, prompting is only going to get more easy as it goes along. So trying to find secret prompts and perfect prompt, that's going to go away over time. Eventually, you're just going to be able to just kind of talk to it conversationally. And in fact, the newest version of ChatGPT, you can be conversational with if you have the mobile device. And so that's not necessarily the scope of this particular session, but it's important to note that if you can just think about what it is you want ChatGPT to do, especially inside of this GPT, you're going to be able to do it. So I wrote a prompt. It says, create a video explaining the main benefits of CapCut versus Camtasia. There's no magic in that. It's just one that I did as a sample. And there was no gap, right? So there was no gap between what CapCut did in the GPT. This is what it produced. So it produced a link for me to click on. Now, I guess what you'll want to do. Now, I was logged into my CapCut account when I clicked that link. And so I think you do want to be logged into your CapCut account when you click the link. I think that's going to be important. So when you get started, and then you're going to click that link, and it's just going to take you straight to CapCut, right? And so it took a while to actually create a video, so it was not an instantaneous process. It took, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It didn't happen right away. It created the video, and eventually it did actually produce something, right? And so when I clicked on the link inside of CapCut, I'll show you what it produced. It produced a video. Now, was the video perfect? It wasn't, right? And definitely, it left a little bit to be desired. But the point is that this connection is only going to get better, right? So eventually, you're going to be able to use this GPT in order to do some pretty amazing things if you decide to use CapCut as your video creator, your video editor. So it's a good idea to, even if you have the free version of ChatGPT, to start practicing, right? Because again, you expect that ChatGPT is going to get better at this. You expect that ByteDance is going to make this connection more robust over time because of the connection to ChatGPT. There is one more thing that can be shared about the CapCut GPT. And in order to show you this, I'm going to open up the CapCut GPT. And in order to get it started, one of the things that you'll want to do is you'll want to use this the way you would do any other ChatGPT conversation. You want to start the conversation by asking the CapCut GPT how you need to write prompts from it. And that's going to change over time. So As the CapCut GPT gets to be more advanced, it'll change the way it wants you to ask for prompts. So in this case, we will demonstrate what it means to ask the CapCut GPT exactly how to prompt it. Okay, so I've written these two prompts. There's nothing magic about these prompts. You can write them any way that you want, but you want to make sure you get the substance of what I'm asking. There are two basic questions that you want to ask ChatGPT or any chatbot anytime that you start to use it or any chatbot application. You want to know everything that it says it does, and then you also want to be able to ask it how you should write prompts for it. And so that's what we're basically going to do. So if you determine you want to ask these two prompts in a different way, you can ask these questions in a different way, but you want to make sure that you get the substance. We're now going to click enter. And so you'll see here, this is what ChatGPT will do for you, is it'll basically give you an idea of how you're going to write prompts. Once you get this list, you want to come down to this area. You want to make sure that you copy this and that you put it into some kind of word processing document, that you archive that word processing document, and you can use it for future use. Now, once again, this is going to change over time. So it's a good idea to come back routinely, come to the GPT, and then submit a query and ask the GPT exactly how you should be writing prompts for it.
Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, make sure to like, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more training just like this. See you in the next one.